Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
He's like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Hello, you crazy dick fucker!
Party time!
Yes, it is party time, I guess. Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. And hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. I am Izzy Presley, and this is Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effing Podcast. 10 bell salute again at the top of the show. This is getting old, kids. This is getting really old. Of course, the last one was for Jeff LeBar and Gary Corbett. Very, very sad. And then just in the last 2 days, we lost Joey Jordison from Slipknot and Mike Howe from Metal Church. Very, very unfortunate. So sad. Paul Gargano is with me. He is back. Hello, Mr. Gargano.
Hello, Mr. Izzy. How are you?
I've been better. I've been better.
Yeah, I think that's how we all are.
Yeah,
all been better.
Yeah, Ferlazzo is unable to join us tonight because he is dealing with the cancellation of this month's Soundcheck Live due to COVID reasons.
I have a different theory.
Well, hold on. Just for the fact, just so everybody knows, it's not like somebody came down with COVID. It was just precautionary because of the Delta variant. Just being safe. It's unfortunate, but you know it is what we're dealing with right now. So. It is what it is. So no Soundcheck Live tomorrow night. Your theory, Mr. Gargano?
I think Ace Von Johnson, Tanya Harding'd him so he could get more time on the show with us.
You know, I might not be in LA, but I still have guys there, so could be.
I still have guys there.
You must be Armenian because Armenians always got a guy.
Oh, I got a guy.
I got a guy.
What do you mean? I get you a toe.
I mean, Italians have too. I don't know. I think it's just Minnesotans that don't have guys.
Not like people in West Hollywood have guys, but that's in a whole nother story.
That's another show.
It is. Ace Von Johnson, LA Guns. Welcome back to the show, man. It's been a long time. Before we get to you, make sure you guys hit all the social media at Metal Edge Magazine, at Another Effing Podcast, and of course my personal ones at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board. Ace, it's good to see you. Yeah. It's been a long time. Sorry to interrupt you.
Nice to see both of you. Nice to be seen. Nice to be back. Yeah, I'm still here. You know, doing the damn thing, and you know, I definitely want to point out, you know, the loss of some people we've lost recently, and sort of acknowledge that, and you know, give a little nod to Mr. LeBar and Gary and Mike and today Joey, and you know, if it seems like we're all kind of, whoever's watching or not watching, if it seems we're a little somber, I think it's probably some of this is really starting to wear some of us down, I would imagine.
Yep.
Paul, you just look like that.
Me, I'm just like, it's a Tuesday. No, it sucks. It's and, you know, the longer we're in the business, the longer we're part of the industry, the more we get to know all these people, and you know, certain ones hit certain of us harder than others did. I didn't know Jeff LeBar very well, but I had met him a few times. I actually knew Joey Jordison fairly well. Yeah. So, you know, some of them hit harder than others, and sadly some are less surprising than others too. Mm-hmm. Just it's unfortunately like the numbness becomes part of our life after a while. Right. And I don't mean that to like, it's just, we get to a point where it's just every day it's something new. It's something different, you know?
Yeah. Well, at least I have Mila to comfort me.
The real thing. She's back there.
Oh, there she is. There's a princess.
You want some treats? There she is.
Like treats?
Yeah.
Mine like right at my feet going, treats? What?
Treats?
The minute somebody walks in front of the house, he'll start barking because I have the curtains open. So
ceremonial at the top of the show. In the words of
Yeah,
the Cold Steve Austin, crack one for the working man. Oh, yeah.
I'll drink some water for the working man.
Yeah.
And
stay hydrated, my friend.
in the words of the great Don Jameson, to hell with my liver, or our livers, and also to Mike Howe and Joey Jordanson. And to Mr. LeBar and Corbett, because I didn't get to toast them last week because it was a pre-recorded thing that I did. So
salute.
Oh, again, I know it's not good to cheer with water, but I'm cheering with water. So
hey, man, you do you.
I'm not. You know what? I'll outdrink everybody, but I'm not doing it right now.
Not today.
It's all good.
Not at 6 o'clock at night when I'm in the middle of a work day.
So, Ace, I mean, one of the reasons I did want to have you on is because Ellie Guns
Lack of options.
Well, that too. Johnny Martin was unavailable. Oh, and before we get into this, I'm going to post it on the podcast page. There is a GoFundMe for Johnny Martin and his family. He recently lost his father, and like him, like everybody, we've all been sitting on our fucking ass for over a year, and need some help with the expenses. So I'm going to be posting that on the podcast page. So go to Add Another Effing Podcast and click on that and help out. So you guys, Ellie Guns, you guys just released a record, a live record.
Here it is.
There it is.
A CD, one of these compact disc thingies that people have.
Is that like a 4-inch record?
Yes, it's the weirdest Spotify I've ever seen. We just put out the Cocked and Loaded Live CD, digital, and vinyl, although the vinyl is slightly delayed and will be arriving next week for those of you who maybe ordered one. It's a great record, and it's very humbling to be a part of this legacy in a small sense, and getting to do the record cover to cover. I've never, in my 20 years as a sort of touring and recording artist, I've never done a live album, so it was cool that this was my first and what might be my only live album. It's cool. It sounds good. Sounds really good, and it's chock full of hits, and I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about it. I did, been there, done that, have the t-shirt.
Right. Look, Ace, look, it might not actually be your only live record, because the way LA Guns has been going, they put out an album, then they put out a live record, then they put out an album, then they put out a live record. So you might have a few more in your back pocket. Oh, yeah. I'm just, I mean, I'm thinking like, we could all implode in like a week. It's how it feels at times. It's been, this last 2 years. But so it's been cool to have that as sort of the first little notch on my belt for a live release. And this is, I've got 3 years now in LA Guns, although the last 18 months kind of don't count. But this is my first full length with LA Guns, aside from the covers EP we did about a year and a half ago. This is it. So we got that. And then the studio record coming out in the fall, Checkered Past, and contributed to that. And, I'm going to be going out to Vegas here in a couple days to shoot. We're doing some music videos to, prep for the album in the fall, and doing that whole, shuck and jive, new record, live album. Yeah. And, some stuff coming up later in the year. Show wise, assuming the pandemic doesn't wipe us all out again. Right. And that's it. I think it's cool. It's the live record sounds good. I think my favorite track to play from the record is Magdalene, and which seems to be like a fan favorite, deep cut. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a song that's also in the set a lot before you guys. Really? Not in my tenure. Yeah. Really? Okay. I'm sure, respectfully, I'm sure it was, but I don't recall seeing them do it if ever, at least since the reunion, although I know it was in and out of the set periodically, but it was definitely sort of on the lower end of the sort of options list. But in my, couple years in the band until we did this show was the only time we played it. So that was fun. Okay. A lot of interesting guitar lines and stuff. And
yeah, I don't know. I'm like waxing poetic about nonsense here, but it sounds great. I'm happy it's out, and the reviews I've seen online have, I would say, 99% been stellar. So I'm happy to hear that the fans are happy.
Tony Baruman checking in the chat room says, "Hey, Izzy and Ace." And Paul, you forgot Paul Tony. He says the live album is badass. So there's
I got no ego.
Thanks, Tony.
And Lauren Bell checking in. She says, "Hello, Ace." When you guys were was this the Monsters of Rock stream that was recorded, or was this the Vegas show?
This is from the Vegas show. The Monsters of Rock show we did about roughly a year ago, summertime, and that was just sort of like a normal set, if you will, from the band. Yeah. And then we were kind of looking at stuff to do, another streaming concert, because that was really all any of us last year were really afforded the opportunity to do. And I'm not sure the actual release date of the original Cocked and Loaded, but I think we were looking at 31 years. So there was some sort of anniversary that we had kind of missed because of a few things. And so we just decided that it would be a good option to honor that and get out there and do a streaming gig. And I'm glad I didn't know, maybe, the powers that be already did. Obviously it was recorded, so maybe they did, but I didn't know that we were doing a live release. I just thought it was a streaming show, right? And that was that. I probably would have been a little bit more nervous had I known it was, getting recorded for posterity, if you will. And but I'm happy it was, because the people that worked on it mixing wise all said my work was good. So
adequate.
Yeah. It's sufficient. Yeah, no, I mean, they basically said, your stuff sounds great. There weren't any real big fuck ups, so I'm glad to know. But I'm stoked. I got a live album, and I've got this record coming out in the fall, and blah blah blah, and rock and roll. Right.
All right. Great show. We'll see everybody next week.
All right. See you guys next month.
And it's ironic that, you're not in Faster Pussycat anymore, but you're going to be on finally a Faster Pussycat release.
Yeah. The single that just came out, I'm on that. And God, nice shirt, by the way. Oh, I don't know anything about anything, and the only person that knows definitively is Tammy. So who knows what from my 10 years in that camp is going to end up on anything, if anything.
No, he said
I know for a fact you're on the current vinyl.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, but I think he said you're.
Paul probably knows more than I do.
Yeah, I think he said you're on the next one too. That's what Tammy said when he was on here.
All right. Surprise!
See, all it took for you was leaving the band.
To be fair, it took Tammy.
I know
that single was 15 years in the making.
yeah. To a Chinese Democracy 2. Yeah, I mean, Tammy himself could tell you, or not tell you why it took so long, and some of us know and some of us don't. But better. I just look at it as better late than never, because I will say it was. Am I wording this correctly? It was a little disheartening. Is that a word? Whatever.
Yeah.
It bummed me out. Bummed me out a little bit after you get into a band after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and you're not. I mean, look, I'm in this band for 5 minutes and I put out a live album. So as the artist in me, that got a little. I got used to, from 17, 18, 19 years old to 26, 27, joining Pussycat. I was putting out 2 or 3 albums with various bands every year of my life. Mm-hmm. And then I joined Pussycat, and then I just was touring, pause, take a shower, touring. And so there was seldom, and Tammy and, some of the guys and I were in the studio constantly. I mean, I've probably got a dozen songs that are in various stages of production between Chad and Danny and me and Gilby Clark and Tammy and without Tammy and with Chad and without Chad. And so there's stuff that was recorded. It was just, is it coming out? Is this a demo? So it it was all over the map. And I don't know if, like, you're like, oh, he's putting something else out with you on it. I don't know what's coming from what. But like I said, I love Tammy very much, and I'm happy to be just like the Guns thing. I'm happy to be a sliver of that little legacy, and better late than never as far as getting a release from the band, because that's how I look at it. Is like Pussycat's a perfect example. Is like, I'm no longer in the band. I'd like to look back and go, oh, I'm on that and I played that or whatever, because you can do 3 years of touring in a band, but 20 years later, no one cares. Right. You know what I mean? If you didn't sing the song or play the drum or whatever it is, there's no tangible thing. And when we're losing so many people, I can't help but think about, what, and I say this regarding me very loosely with air quotes, but what little legacy I get to leave behind. I want to know that it's something, and I have to at least consider that when I do anything. And the flip side is that in the last 2 years, leading up to COVID, and especially the last year or 18 months, I've done more session stuff and guest spots and co-writes and all this stuff that I'm stoked on. Mm-hmm. So, maybe it was good that I took a break or whatever. I mean, I wrote 3 fucking songs today as a guitar somewhere back here just for me sitting at, we need a thing for a song. And, so, maybe it was good to starve me for a little while, I think. Mm. And like I said, I'm getting a little TED talky here, but I love those guys mostly. And, and Tender's cool. And, I'm happy to have contributed whatever in whatever capacity it is. And Sam is doing a stellar job. I mean, I couldn't, when I knew I needed to pick somebody to fill that spot, I don't think I could have picked a better person. So I'm happy to see that he's crushing it is an understatement, but he's also a studio whiz. He's arguably tenfold the best guitar player that's ever been in that band from the get-go. And then also, he's just a nice, humble kid. So if anything, I'd like to pat myself on the back for putting someone awesome in there rather than like, some douchebag or something. You know what I mean?
Another Ace Von Johnson.
Well, Ace, let me ask you this. Because when you did bring Sam into the mix, you were doing both bands. Yeah, but hold on. Did you feel at any point like you were passing the torch, or at that time did you just feel like, this I love this kid, he's a great kid, he's going to fill in for me?
No, I don't really think I had any intent of going back unless it was required. I did both for a year, so maybe a little longer than a year. I juggled both. Yeah. And it was great. And I did substantially. I did have a little bit of a hard time accepting that I was probably moving on from it. But, I don't know if you're not in a band, I know the two of you would understand this, but like I was in that band for 10 years, 10 years, 9 years and like 9 months. You know what I mean? That's a long fucking time.
Especially only 24 years old.
I was when I joined. I was like 26. So I did my due diligence and I put in my time. And had Sam not been able to stay after the tour that I was sort of forced to pick, if you will, and I was able to do both, I probably would have stuck around for a little longer. But at the time, Ellie Guns was promoting The Devil You Know, and we were working pretty steadily. And the difference between the two camps, although there are many, in this instance, Pussycat has a tendency, as you guys will see, and Paul, they'll go out and they'll do, 8, 9, 10, 12 weeks in a row, and then that's kind of it for a minute. Guns has a little bit more of a, we'll go do 10 days. And of course, I'm speaking pre-COVID, but, we'd go do 10 days and take 2 weeks off and go do 3 weeks and then take a month off. And then so it's a little more sensible, if you ask me. But, it was eventually going to be the kind of thing where I was going to have to shit or get off the pot. And like I said, I love Tammy to death. I think I've had a better relationship with him in the last 3 years than I did the maybe 7 prior. And of course, there's other factors involved in that. But you know, I don't have any regrets about it. I wish I was more involved in an album just on paper. But aside from that, I mean, I don't, you know, so many people are like, man, I saw Pussycat the other day. Do you wish you could be out there with them? And I was like, not really. You know, I'm good where I'm at, man. So, and I, like I said, I love those guys. I wish them the best. And Sam's doing a great job. And Tammy and me and Chad and everyone else will tell you, Sam's going to move on to something else eventually. Anyhow, he's just too talented to stick around in anything like that. I'm sure he'll find his home or his niche or whatever it is. But you know, those guys are all. This isn't even a stab or whatever. Those guys could be his dad. So, you know, he's 20. What, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
I think he's 26. He's 26.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You know,
and look, Tender actually treats him like a kid, like it's his kid. Tender fucking protects him, and I love that.
Yeah, no. Danny's always really good with stuff like that. He's definitely got a, despite his shenanigans, Danny definitely has a parental. He did it to me when I joined the band. You know, the first maybe 2 or 3 years I was in Pussycat, he was very maternal, motherly. Anyways, let's talk about something else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's do this. First half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification. That's 2E's beateramplification.com. 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Yeah, Ace, you've played through this fucking thing. You know how great it is. 3 channels, 100 fucking watts, hand-wired, hand-built. Pull 2 tubes, you got yourself a 50. And yes, you can have the very first Izzy Presley TCB1 model. All you gotta do is call them up and pay for it. It's that fucking simple. Beater
almost got a spit take on me on that one.
Almost. Beateramplification.com. Hit them up on Facebook as well. And our good friends over at Mackie. You want to get a podcast, you want to get in a home recording, hit up Mackie, Mackie. Hit up that studio bundle. That is very wild and wacky stuff. That is weird and wild stuff. Hit up that studio bundle, a very affordable way to do it. Mackie, Mackie.com. And I guess this hasn't been announced on the show. I am now a GHS strings artist.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. I got a major endorsement. Yeah. So we got that. So Nashville, how's Nashville been treating you?
I got to say one thing just for the record, because it's not like me to say be so quiet, but one of the difficult things doing what I do for a living and sticking the Metal Edge name on something like a podcast. For those who don't know, and I don't know that Ace knows, I manage Faster Pussycat.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in a position where I have to keep my mouth shut when a lot of stuff is getting said. So I just wanted to, it's not an issue of not engaging. It's an issue of I have 2 options. I could shut my mouth or I could start to explain things. And it's easier to shut my mouth than it is to go into explanations of things. So
when did you start managing Pussycat?
At M3.
Oh, so like a minute ago.
Apparently Tito has a problem with that. Tito's like, no, Daddy, don't do it.
No comment.
Well, we've been talking for a while, and
I know. I tried to sell you that spot for years because I got tired of doing what is now your job.
We had that discussion, and you and I, you know, it probably would never have happened without you, and you know, it happened at M3, so that's where it's formalized. But yeah, so it's just tough for me because I want to make comments, but I also don't want it to turn into a whole, like, we could have literally, and I love talking about the business side of things, and I love you. And
of course, I love you too.
And look, the guys love you. We had a long, Tammy and I talked about you for a while outside Dingbats the other night. But it's like and for the record, Dingbats is a club in New Jersey. I'm not saying everyone's a bunch of dingbats.
I figured you could have just been talking about Chad and Tender. You know what I mean?
Adequate, yeah.
But it's there's like so much that comes into play with a lot of that stuff, and it's such, as you know, and Izzy, you know, you've been in bands for most of your life. There's such a dynamic that comes into play all the time. And what you said is probably one of the truest and most fair things when it comes down to, like, you know, you want your legacy, you want to be recorded, you want to take part in stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know it probably wasn't easy for a while there. So It's but you know, the guys have nothing but amazing things to say about you. And you know, you're right about Sam. It's kind of funny sometimes just being around, because the dynamic with Sam is different, because
he's a kid.
He's like the younger brother in the band, but man, is he good. He's
very, very, very talented, and he's great on stage. Beyond just talented, he's
very, very responsible, which also helps.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I don't want to take away from anybody or take credit where credit maybe maybe not due, but it wasn't like I woke up one day and said, oh shit, I got to get someone to fill this spot. You know, this was something that I milled over for probably 2 or 3 months before ever even picking up the phone, not only to Sam and the one other person I spoke to, but also to Tammy. It wasn't just, I didn't just wake up willy-nilly and decide, oh, I'm subbing out, or I'm doing this or whatever. You know, the analogy I've been making for now probably 2 or 3 years is I was in a long-term marriage, and then another woman showed up, and I was like, I'm kind of unhappy in my marriage. Now, do I go on a date with this other girl, or do I stay in my marriage? And I did both for a year, and then I made my decision, you know? And so, and I'm so, man, I didn't know that you were managing them. That's fucking great. If anyone could do it, Paul, it's you. So, and I say that with the,
I'm excited about it. I seem excited about it. You know, I was just going to make that same comparison that you made. I wasn't going to say a marriage. I was going to say you were in a long-term dating relationship and another girl came around, and it's like, you got to make a call at some point.
Yeah.
You know? It's just, you did what was right by you, and that's amazing. And there's nobody has anything but positive things to say about you. It's amazing. I wish I could have worked with them, because I think that would have been cool, but
I would have loved that. I would have given you such a hard time. Paul, pick up the phone.
Paul, I'm out of beer.
Look, and just for the record, back home, we call that chubby side action.
I think I was in that band. Man, I'm so glad.
That like any action is bad action. Come on, it's been
a long time.
Most people see another human being.
No comment.
Right.
Well, I'm glad that that's finally come together, because, like we were saying a minute ago, I really lobbied for that for, I would say, years.
Probably. It got to a point where it was just kind of like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Who, if you don't mind me asking, who else is on your roster? Drowning Pool?
Drowning Pool, Raptor, Hurricane, Jason Charles Miller, Bias, which is David Silvera from Korn's new band, the original drummer. Dendel Hoyt, who's out of Las Vegas. She's a singer-songwriter out of Las Vegas, and a band called Night, who are they're my youngins. They're two brothers out of Dallas. They're kind of goth wave synth type thing. They're kind of like a more modern version of like Orgy.
Okay, cool.
So they're actually really good producers too.
You got quite
a duo and a band, so
eclectic roster.
Yes, and I can say this now because he launched today. Kurt Dimer.
No shit.
Yeah, Kurt is Andy Gould and I are managing Kurt together. Kurt is a new artist, but he's going to be out with Jeff Tate all fall, and Phil X from Bon Jovi is his guitar player.
Oh, nice. Really?
Yeah. So
I love Phil.
That's an exciting project. So it's a fun project to be involved with. Just shot a bunch of videos, doing a bunch with that. So yeah, so it's busy. There hasn't really been a COVID pause for me, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to hear. Some of us, you know, I don't want to jinx it or whatever, but I, had a turbulent year, but a very busy one.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. I got more albums coming out this year than I have in 10 years.
That's fantastic. Now, just so you mentioned, just so we don't talk about this forever, there's a new album coming out in fall. Is that a new studio album?
Studio album, yeah.
Studio. Are you writing it all with that, or is it?
Yeah, I got a couple, a little bit of credit on there. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did that work? What was that process like? Was it something where Tracy had the songs, or the songs were done and then you made edits as you added your piece to them, or was it something?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm going to answer this, but I don't know how much I'm supposed to delve out. That being said, the record was done all remotely during the peak of this fucking pandemic. So it was very much done remotely. I mean, so I would get a track sent to me and it would be in various stages of production. And I would record here where you see me at right now. I've got a little set up here, and there's a rig in the closet and all my stuff here to my right. And
But you haven't been in Nashville that long, though.
No, I've been out here since January. So I mean, this basically started at the beginning of the year.
Gotcha. It was this year. Okay. All right.
Yeah. We started working on it, I think, just before the holidays, and by the time it got to me, it was let's call it February.
Yep. Gotcha. All right.
And so I would put down.
For the record, it was still a black day in Hollywood history when you left for Nashville.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Not the same being at the Rainbow and not hoping to see you or expecting to see you there. So.
I don't know.
I mean,
no, I'm kidding.
I don't. That's such a. I'm humbled. If anything kept me in Hollywood as long as it did, it was the Rainbow. And I miss our little, you, me, Jason Christopher, Dino, the Maglieris, of course, Izzy coming by, Matt Fuller coming by, just the constant little sort of cavalcade and family vibe that we had. And I was always really happy to just be there and welcomed there as, for my life. I mean, for my life, really. I mean, I'm one of 3 people that was born in LA, but in the music industry. But I'm sure I'll be back at some point. But I definitely don't regret moving. I'll tell you that. Actually, I was saying this last month. I wish I had moved sooner.
Well, let's pause the LA Guns album talk for a minute.
Sure.
I wanted to pick your brain about Nashville because.
All right, hold on. Well, let's specifically pause. Let's take 2 minutes.
We're going to specifically pause.
You'll be back in 2 and 2.
We'll be back in 2 and 2.
I mean, I get to go get more potato chips.
You get to get up and get more potato chips. That is right. It is another fucking podcast. Metal Edge Magazine's another effing podcast. Paul Gargano and our guest Ace Von Johnson. And of course, if you are joining late, Ferlazzo was unable to join us because of
Ferlazzo,
because our show got postponed tomorrow night. And he is not a good. He's very disappointed and disheartened and dealing with a lot of stuff because of that. So
we love you, Steve.
We'll have him on hopefully next month when the show will happen. So we'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. It is Metal Edge Magazine's another fucking podcast.
Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com.
A reading from the Gospel of L.A. Guns. Now, listen. I'm a sex gun lover. In the heat of the night. Don't run for cover. I got you in my sights. Praise be to L.A. Guns.
Oh, God, Mike Dawson.
Brilliant.
It's so good.
Great voice for that.
Oh, it's so perfect. And that you missed it last week, Paul, because or 2 weeks ago, he did it live because he co-hosted. So he actually did the read live. It was fucking gold. It was fucking gold.
Who was the guest? Who was the guest?
It was Tim from Junkyard.
I heard that. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Fucking
Junkyard.
great.
We like Junkyard here.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And
Junkyard at M3, they were not at M3.
No,
they weren't at M3.
And just in case anybody is wondering, the CDs are now available. The Smoke and Kills, Mike Dawson and the Smoke and Kills. If you hit up smokeandkills.com, you can order one of those. Vinyl is not available, and it will be available online August 25th for its official release. So we did want to get into the Nashville stuff. Ace, what was it that what was it that it was just like, fuck it, I'm out, I'm done, I got to try something new?
I'm shoving food in my mouth so I don't editorialize about LA. You know that face?
You mean Oz? Just don't look behind the curtain.
Like the People's Republic of California.
Yeah.
And, communist Los Angeles. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, right. I'll potato chip to that. I'm gonna give this one to my dog actually because it's a small chip. Okay.
Paul Gargano, the generous Paul Gargano.
It's a small potato chip. My little 14-pound dude could eat that one. All right.
Spread the wealth, my friend. Well, Izzy, you know this. I've been coming out here in my off time and hanging with Tony Higbee and doing the rock and roll residency jam and all kinds of stuff in my passing off time, probably once every 18 months. And an ex-girlfriend of mine from years ago, she goes, you started talking about moving to Nashville in 2013 or 2014. So it was definitely not out of the blue. And with the pandemic this year, whatever, and not touring and paying an arm and a leg to live in LA.
And another 3 fingers.
Yeah. I mean, both arms and both legs.
It's absurd.
I started looking at places out here in the summer, and I ended up getting this house. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, I technically got it in November because I believe it was on my mother's birthday, and which is the only reason I remember the date. And I came out here mid-December to hang out with Tony Higbee from Tom Kiefer's band, who's one of my closest friends, and did a pre-Christmas thing with him and signed all the papers and moved out here shortly after the new year. And I was up and out of here. What made me want to go was I felt like I was a prisoner in my own home with the at the peak of COVID last year.
Yeah.
And with the shutdowns and the with the this and the that, and I just felt more or less that I needed to move out of my apartment. And if I was going to move, if I'm going to move, I might as well move somewhere where I get more bang for my buck.
Mhm.
And when you're packing up your life and moving, what's the difference if it's 12 miles north in the valley or out of fucking state? It's almost kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And my options were, for what I was paying and what I could afford, downgrade almost. I mean, Izzy been to my place 100 times,
Mhm.
And I think
and my place in Hollywood.
yeah,
And
part of the problem too is I don't know if you were rent controlled.
sort of.
Yeah, I mean,
Technically,
we're in a rent controlled place. Everybody asks us why we don't own. I'm like,
Yeah.
"We're rent controlled, and if we ever lose this place,
you're fucked.
we're screwed. We'll be in Nashville quickly. Let me tell you, because it's either gonna be Nashville or Vegas, and it won't be Vegas. So that's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the gist. And by the way, Rackman was here 2 weeks ago, and Tammy was at Ricky's house on a day off. Paul, you probably already know that. And he called Ricky while Ricky's with me, and he goes, this is your giant ass house? And he goes, I'm fucking done. He goes, I'm going to move to North Carolina or Nashville or somewhere else. And no jokes, I don't think he was joking, but it's ultimately was just about, if I got to spend another year sitting at home, I'm in a house. I got a 2-story house out here with a backyard and some, fucking, you guys want to come over and park in my driveway? Or I could have stayed in that tiny little shell of an apartment, and it was cool rock and roll crash pad for, the first 4 or 5 years I was there. But, I'm not in my 20s anymore, and I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. Yeah. And the allure of all that wore off real quick when there was nowhere to go and nothing to do. And there's homeless people and mayhem and helicopters and the cops and paramedics and drug addicts and people screaming. And, not that it's not without that here or anywhere you go, but at least I can go out in my backyard and I can make some s'mores and walk around in my underwear and play my guitar as loud as I want. So the peace of mind and the space and the, maturing and all that was a big part of it. And, ultimately there was a lot of stuff in LA that was more of a thorn in my side than a plus or a positive. And, even it was the kind of thing where it was like, if I go out and I go to a show or I go to the Rainbow or I go to meet some friends at an event, I'm probably going to see somebody I hate or some ex-band member or some girl I used to speak with. Yeah, you. And it just was so, it's like this dark cloud of like, God, do I even want to leave the house? And then COVID, and I just kind of had enough. And like I said, I part of me really does, kind of feel like I wish I had made the jump sooner. I have, I've had a few hiccups out here, but that's to be expected moving across the country.
Right.
But I love it here. I've got one of the reasons I wanted to move here in the first place isn't because of, Music City. It's because I have such a great network of people here. I had lunch with a buddy who you guys may or may not know. I had some girlfriends come by earlier after that were going to the Gary Memorial. And I got a thing tomorrow. Tony Higbee and I are going record shopping. I'm going to meet this guy from this band. I'm going to watch the Kiss documentary with Rachel Bolin. There's just stuff going on, and everybody's very kind of like you guys. Like they're cool and they're good people, and there's a lot less, and I'm going to just come out and say it. There's a lot less of what can you do for me here, because everybody here is kind of already where they're at. Yeah, right. And I didn't move here to try to get a gig or take food off anyone's plate or whatever. I just wanted to come here because I knew a bunch of people that were all great. I can't think of one asshole that I know of in Nashville, which I can't say about anywhere about SoCal.
Izzy's coming in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Ace, I thought you were going to say metal, dude, fucking metal. I thought that was the reason. I didn't know.
Metal, dude. Yeah, I like it here. And, people have been asking, when are you coming back? When are you moving back? You're going to come back. You're definitely going to move back. When are you visiting? And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm like, I got another dog. I got my yard. I've got a bunch of workout equipment. I've decorated my house. I'm, like shopping for a new car. I'm like, I'm good, man.
Wow, you guys look at you.
Keep your shenanigans out there.
Shopping for a new
Our little
car.
He's all grown up.
He's all grown up and grown up and grown up.
They're all grown up and you're all grown up.
There you go. And the dogs have multiplied.
And I think we all get to a point where we're just like, we all work very hard, and it's like you get no return on your investment here at all. And it's like I've traveled all over the world. I've seen homeless problems in third world countries, and let me tell you, LA could beat it all right now. I mean, it's a shithole. Yeah. It's an absolute shithole here.
Oh yeah.
You can't drive down Hollywood Boulevard without seeing tent cities.
It looks like a third world country, and it got to the point. And I don't want to get all socio-political, but like it got to the point. And Izzy, you know this. I wouldn't walk Mila. It gets too scary. There's too many people screaming and throwing bottles, and there's syringes on the sidewalk, and I'm just like, I'm paying out the nose for this.
I was just in Connecticut for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks after M3. I was gone for 3 weeks, and I was nervous about Rico walking the dog. I mean, it was just like, I'm like,
and you're in a decent part of town.
We're in a really nice part of town, but all it takes is one asshole driving by and deciding, oh, there's a girl walking a dog, and the dog weighs 14 pounds and the girl weighs 18 pounds, and I'm going to go steal her iPhone. It's like, that's where we're at today,
Yep. Just go to the chat room really quick. Scotty from Canada is checking in. And he goes, knowing Ace is a horror movie guy like me, any new movies to recommend? Can't wait to see.
Why are people trying to get us to talk about things that are more interesting to them?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, trust me, this is very easy to get back to. But Scotty's going to be on Monsters of Rock. He's coming back finally in 2022, and he just wants to know if Ace has any new horror movie recommendations for him.
What have I seen lately? I hate to come out and say it. Most of the stuff I've watched that's contemporary has been subpar.
How long has it been like that though?
A long time.
Yeah.
It's over under. It's most of the stuff I see that's newer. I'm talking like in the last 10, 15 years, is not for me.
What do you like? What do you look for?
And I'm sure it's funny because this is the kind of topic that I would have preemptively made a little cheat sheet or a list. I look for, I like a good
personality.
I like a good mind fuck. I'm more of a psychological thriller. I want something that I'm going to watch and is going to keep me awake at night and be like, fuck. The guy with the knife or the overly graphic, gory stuff, it serves a purpose, but that's usually not my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
And I keep going back. My favorites are the same favorites that you would ask me 20 years ago as a teenager. It's still The Shining. It's still The Exorcist. It's still Rosemary's Baby. It's still the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 75. Those Jaws. I mean, Jaws isn't my favorite, but it's up there.
Yeah.
They're these landmark horror movies that you can't. They just announced yesterday that they've purchased the rights to Exorcist, so they're going to make a trilogy again.
Oh wow!
And it's not going to be a technical reboot. It's going to be a continuation. No Linda Blair, who's a friend of mine. Hi, Linda. But they're going to use Ellen Burstyn, the mother, so she'll be in it to kind of bridge a gap. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm trying to think if there's something I've seen that actually.
Hold on, Ace. Let me ask you this about those reboots. Reboots.
Huge. What are you Canadian now?
Take off.
I can't even say Minnesota. Me.
Hold on.
Take off, you hoser.
Are you worried? Now, me, as a Star Wars geek, I loved the last 3 films.
Mm-hmm.
I loved them. Yeah, yes. As geeks, we pick them apart, but I fucking love them.
Disney's done a great job with the Star Wars franchise.
I think they really have.
Good job with it. Yeah.
Are you afraid, as a horror movie geek and as an Exorcist geek, that you are going to be disappointed like some Star Wars elitists are about the last 3 Star Wars films.
I look at it the same way I look at when people go, oh, I don't want to go see Faster Pussycat because it's not this guy, or I don't want to go see Enough's Enough because it's not this guy. Here's the thing. You had what you had when you had it.
Yeah.
And
you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Tom.
Campers in the house. All right, thank you. That was my Brian Ott impression. Thank you very much.
God, hi, Brian. Let me kind of take a step back. The original Star Wars trilogy is still there.
Yep.
And I detest the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, is it affecting me being able to enjoy Return of the Jedi? No. Does the sequel movies affect me being able to enjoy, Empire Strikes Back? No. So, does this live LA Guns record affect you being able to enjoy the 1988 debut self-titled album? No. It's just, this is where we're at now. So when you get a brand or franchise or band, which is kind of the same thing as a brand.
Yeah.
And especially in today's market, it wasn't always like this.
Look
but
right over my shoulder and there's a perfect.
Oh yeah. They set the bar. But yeah. Is that a Tommy Thayer mask? And
Yeah.
so
or is it a Michael Myers mask? I can't tell.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Silent and deadly.
Yeah, except Michael Myers does a better Israeli. Anyways,
hey. I just look at it like, look, they're going to do whatever the studios and the guys with the suit and tie and the box of money and the actors and whatever, they're going to do whatever they want to do. Now, does that fuck with me being able to put on Exorcist from what year is Exorcist? 72, 73? Something like that. Paul, you were 40 then. What year did that come out?
Oh, wow.
he was just getting ready to make fucking Caveman.
Oh my God. Like, yeah, hold on. I was just getting ready to start hair metal back then. Let me 1973.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
for the record, I was 2.
Okay.
I turn 50 next week.
Happy early birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get you a Izzy Presley cameo of him shaking his mankini.
There you go. That'll be $749.23.
Yeah, it's gonna be Izzy Presley imitating Sebastian Bach as my cameo, and I'm gonna
Dude, what the fuck do you mean? Dude, is this fucking Metal Edge? Dude, I was on the cover of this fucking magazine for fucking years, and I had a fucking centerfold.
Wow.
Can't say that about Chad Stewart.
Ace, that just cost you $50. or a case of whatever the hell Sloppy's drinking right now. I don't know.
No, they don't have this glorious Michelob Golden Light.
I'm going to plead the fifth here. The movies might come out and I might hate them, but it's not going to affect my fandom or appreciation of said original. It's like if Metallica puts out a new record, it doesn't mean I hate Master of Puppets. Sorry, they put a new record and it sucks. When Saint Anger came out, I didn't burn my copies of, Kill 'Em All and shit. I just was like, oh, I don't like this chapter. Yeah. So
wait, did you not burn your copy of Kill 'Em All because it was original Megaforce release?
No, I would never burn any Metallica album. Maybe Saint Anger, but you
got to give Saint Anger another listen. Saint Anger's not Saint Anger. Look, I'll be the first one. I'll jump up and down all over Load and Reload.
See, I love Load,
but I just said Reload especially. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'll just, as a Metallica fan from back in the day, that's one I love to jump on. However, I appreciate. It was so funny. I was talking to Kenny Queens earlier today about Kiss, and we were talking about where the concept is bigger than the execution. And I felt like with Saint Anger, the concept was there, but the execution wasn't. It just didn't deliver the way they needed it to deliver.
Yeah, I agree. There were moments of greatness in there, but it definitely is in my opinion, the weakest album in the catalog. let's not turn this into a Metallica greatest.
Well, look, this is what we've turned into.
Oh, but I know all of you very well, and we are that guy all day long.
Yeah, you know
exactly.
What? We're entitled to be that guy. We've devoted a lot of our lives to being fans, and we're entitled to have our opinions.
Oh, I've wasted my life. Going back and back. New horror movies that I could recommend. God, the last thing I saw that I really liked was maybe like Get Out or It Follows, and even those are old. Those are like 5 years old now. I can't. I'm sure tomorrow at like 2 PM I'll be like, oh, I remembered, something that I enjoyed. It's another movie that's not necessarily new, but maybe 7 years. It's a movie called The Babadook. I really liked. But again, psychological thrillers, all of them.
See, I was expecting more of a Will There Be Titty? I will take Slumber Party Massacre 3 for the win, Alex.
Anything Linnea Quigley is in, there's always titty. Return of the Living Dead, all that stuff. But Paul, I think you asked me what I look for in a horror movie. I have different eras of horror that I go to depending on like what I'm in the mood for, if I'm feeling frisky. But I like all the classic stuff. Anything from Universal's, you took the early 30s, all the talkie stuff, through maybe the great photo through the 60s, Night of the Living Dead. You get into the 70s and it starts to get a little more violent, and then you get into sort of that time frame, like everything I mentioned, Texas Chainsaw, The Exorcist, The Omen, stuff like that, Last House on the Left. And then you get into the 80s, and then things take another turn where everything becomes a little bit more schlocky. You get Creepshow, Return of the Living Dead,
lots of titty,
Night of the Comet, a lot of titty in all these.
Oh, Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
Well, Ace, hold on. Let me ask you this. Do you think technology has ruined horror?
No. Technology's ruined a lot of things, including the music industry. But again, just my 2 cents. But not horror. I don't think technology's really ruined cinema at all, but I'm also not
then you obviously haven't watched the prequels. That was a joke. They look like cartoons anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, let's not, because I will go on like a 45-minute rant about horror.
Oh, let it go. Well, but will it get you on Metal Sludge? That's the most important question of the hour.
I love Stevie, but I don't ever want to be on Metal Sludge ever. That's what the headline will be. Yeah.
Fucking gold. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I gotta zip it. Wait, what were we talking about before this? We were talking about LA Guns, I think.
Go back to the LA Guns record, and you were talking about, and you don't have to get into too much detail. You don't have to get yourself in trouble, because I don't know that I could get you back into Faster Pussycat if Tracy throws you out of LA Guns. So
that might happen if Sam gets offered the LA Guns gig.
You guys are giving away my gigs already.
Damn, can you imagine? Like, and literally, let's just start.
It's like a baseball trade.
Yeah, exactly. I'll trade you, like, go to the Queensryche guys when Parker quit. I'll trade you Sam Bam.
Hey, who took Parker's place? Do we know?
Mike Stone. Well, Mike Stone was at M3. Mike Stone came back.
Okay.
Mike Stone came back. Love Mike Stone.
Pizza guy. Hang on. Yes, hello, 1-800 Metal Edge. I'd like to talk to Paul, please, about his subscription.
No, Jerry's not here. She's dead.
Sorry,
she can't come to the phone.
Sorry,
I don't know why that thing kept going as long as it did, but it.
I've heard that before.
It's usually not about me. And definitely not from Rika.
We'll take phrases Paul has never heard before for 300, Alex.
Yes. What am I?
No, we were talking about the LA Guns record, and you were talking about how it was done during COVID, and you would get stuff sent to you, and you had writing input on it, which is
so. Yeah. So I would put down, my role is basically a sort of glorified rhythm guitar player. So And although Tracy has definitely hyped it up a little bit more sometimes, he jokingly referred to me as like the second lead guy, I think, a couple times, which was flattering. But you know, let's be honest. I mean, it's Tracy's band. He's the lead guitar player. He's a fucking legend. And so, you know, there's only certain amount of space allotted for what I'm doing. So when I'm sent a song that the arrangement is whatever it is, I'm putting down a basic rhythm track, and then I would send over sort of like working ideas. You know, I would go, "Oh, is Paul muted, or is that unintentional?"
I was just Rika walked by and I said, "Ace says hi," and when I said "Ace says hi," it sounded like I said "Ace is high."
And did
is that an Iron Maiden
yeah,
song?
did you say Iron Maiden's terrible?
Not Ace is high, Ace is high, the Iron Maiden song. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Rika. Yeah, so I would send over sort of like scratch ideas and then just wait to hear feedback. Like, hey, you did this thing here, and we liked this part, or this was terrible, or we you know, can you double this? And just bounce stuff back and forth. And I'm going to openly admit that I was sent the record in completed, and I listened to it one time, and I haven't listened to it since. And because, you know, you work on something for so long, it's not like I'm going to sit around rocking out. And so I don't, and that was a few months ago. I don't remember how much of my input made it or didn't. And I just remember being like, cool, this is an album. It sounds like LA Guns, you know, good job. And that was that. And, you know, I'm sure in 6 months or whatever, it'll circle back around where I got to relearn stuff or figure out what they kept and didn't keep, which is almost for me, anything I do. There was a few, I have a writing credit on the album. I mean, I have a few writing credits on the album, but one of the songs is mine, that Sam and I, Sam helped me with. And, you know, it's pretty cool to, you know, again, like I said at the top of the show, just to be a part of this. You know, it's a legacy band, and
yeah.
You know.
Is it a different mindset for you? You've been in many bands. I mean, it's not like you're new. Is it a different mindset going in? I mean, when you're in Faster Pussycat, it's very much Tammy's band. You know, Tammy's the guy.
Yeah.
It was definitely a different entity. They're not active at the same level, recording and everything that LA Guns are. Then you go into LA Guns, and now you've got Tracy and Phil. You don't really, do you feel like you're coming in as the new guy? Like Faster's a lot of new guys in a lot of sense because it's none of the originals. But the minute you get into LA Guns, you know, you've got Tracy and Phil, the two main guys.
Yeah.
It's still different going into a band like that and an atmosphere like that than it did in Faster.
100%. And I don't want to, I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
Well, that's fine.
There was definitely, now you got to keep in mind, man, when I came into Pussycat initially, before I was even a member, when I started rehearsing with them, if you could even call it that, it was 2009. So that's 12 years ago. So everybody, myself included, was in a completely different world, headspace, etc. But, you know, coming in and touring with them starting in, I think, early 2010, there was definitely, I don't know if hazing, that might be a little bit of an overstatement, but there was a little bit of that, depending on who from. And I was definitely the new guy. With LA Guns, I don't think it's a secret now, but I had been approached for a while before I came in. So it was, I was courted, right. And there was no new guy shenanigans, and nobody tried to puff their chest up, or whatever. And so
nobody was worried that you were going to take over their role in the band or anything like that. It wasn't.
No, there was none of that. It was very, I admittedly was telling this story today when I went out with them on the first tour I did with LA Guns in 2018. about the second week in, I pulled Johnny Martin aside, who's the guy I've known the longest, because we go back about 15 years. And I said, hey man, is it always like this? And he said, always like what? And I said, is it always this just, chill? And he goes, yeah, what do you mean? And I said, I'm just waiting for someone to throw a bottle of mustard at me or something.
Or a ham,
Yeah, or a ham. And, again, I'm trying to be the diplomat here. And I kind of realized that it was, on paper, the two bands sort of look like they're kind of about at the same thing, but they operate completely night and day. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to step into environment such as that. And, Tracy and Phil, especially, were so accommodating, and just welcoming. And, Phil and our manager, Scotty, had pulled me aside, kind of maybe about a month before I stepped on stage with them, and I was still out with Pussycat. This was in Vegas, and some of it I don't really want to say, but they were very, like complimentary, and sort of told me a lot of the things that I already knew about myself that
They told you a lot. To flip back to what you were saying earlier, when someone's trying to get you to leave the relationship you're in, they told you a lot of the things that you were dying to hear that you hadn't heard.
Exactly.
Yes.
And there was a lot of things that I, to this day, have never heard from that other camp.
And I think part of that is, that other camp in a lot of ways was your, you wouldn't have made it to the point you made it to with LA Guns if it wasn't for the time you put in that other camp where people noticed you and went, holy shit, man, for him to be in that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Wonder what he could do for us,
Sure. And it's a double, it's not just a one-way street here, of course. But, when in the last maybe 5 years I was in Pussycat, I wasn't just the guitar player. It was like I was running all the social media outlets, and not a single business decision went on without at least me being conferred about it, if not it going through me first. Mm-hmm. And, whether it was my relationship with Sullivan or, my relationship with the Maglieris, or, I could keep going and going and going, and I don't need to, but it was just, at a certain point, you wonder if anyone's ever going to say, hey, Paul, hey, man, thanks for doing what you're doing. And when some guys show up and go, man, we love what you do. We would love to do some stuff with you. I was like, oh, you guys noticed. Somebody noticed. Yeah. And so jumping into that camp and going out for a tour and tour again and another tour where everybody was like, Phil's going, hey, mate, you want to split a bottle of wine with me and talk about punk rock? And I'm like, yeah, I fucking do, and, not to take anything away from my relationship with Tammy, because he was always very, Tammy and I have a different relationship than Tammy does with anyone else in that band. And, that's sort of like where I'll leave that. But, it was nice to just be in an environment where I kind of was like, this is easy. And so again, kind of going back to the thing earlier, it was like, well, I had to pick, and I knew, like my dad used to say, you got to shit or get off the pot. I knew eventually I was going to have to pick one, and I picked one. And I think they're happy with Sam, and I have no regrets about stepping down or leaving. And for a while it's not like I quit. I heard someone on the, these fucking keyboard warriors, like somebody said something about me getting let go, and I was like, I didn't get let go, you fucking moron.
Everybody knows everything better than the people that are actually living it all the time.
Right. Yeah, it's just those. I'm going to leave websites names out of it, but you see these message board stuff, and it's just like, like, yo, fucking Mark in Duluth, shut the fuck up. But so I made my bed and I laid in it, and I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with my move. I'm happy. I got the new Tiffany record I'm on coming out this year.
That's right.
Yeah, and the new LA Guns studio album that I think I'm on every song but 2, because there's some stuff that Tracy just did by himself guitar wise. I'm looking forward to that coming out. I'm looking forward to the Tiffany record coming out. There's some new Neon Coven stuff that we're chipping away at, which is my sort of electronic rock band. If you guys like Ministry meets Depeche Mode, I don't know. And that's Jacob Bunton involved as well. He's singing for the Adler project as well as the Mick Mars solo album that isn't out, but I've heard. And yeah, it's phenomenal. And
it's fucking great.
Yeah, I really
hold on. Is that public knowledge?
What?
That Jacob's on the Mick Mars
yeah.
Is it okay? Cool.
Jacob's on the Adler.
What's that?
Jacob's on the Adler record.
Mick Mars.
Yeah, Jacob was basically the Adler record. I mean, most of the songwriting I think was
he's not in the band now, is he?
No, because it's Adler's Appetite.
Right. Okay. All right.
So there was a firm stance on making Adler a separate entity from Adler Appetite. Yeah.
Right.
And I sure hope that Mick Mars thing is public. I think it is because I know I've seen it mentioned on Blabbermouth. I think,
and actually, I think Eddie has talked about it.
Yeah, it's got to be public knowledge at this point. I just think Jacob's such a low profile and keeps to himself that maybe we're not used to seeing it hyped up on MySpace or whatever. But so that we got some new stuff with Jacob I'm working on, and I did I don't know what else to call it, like an EDM song with my buddy Aaron, who's he goes by the name Small Hands. It's like electronic rock. He's on Cleopatra. That's coming out. I've been doing some writing with the 69 Eyes guys, so I would imagine some of that'll eventually see the light of day. And I guess apparently some more Pussycat stuff. I don't know. And I think there's one or two others, maybe even 3 other things that I've contributed to maybe a year ago, and I've sort of since admittedly forgotten about that. May come out. Turn your ringer off, Paul.
I can't.
There's
That's Tammy texting him, going, "What's he talking about?
Fucking goddamn, Bubba."
Shut up.
Well, Ace, let me ask you this.
No, it's the drummer of Drowning Pool. Asking me to check his voicemail. He communicates to me with videos. He literally will be driving the car and he's got a rack and he has like the instead of doing voice to text that a lot of people do, he just hits record on his phone and literally will just send like a 1.5-minute video of him talking.
Wow, that sounds like.
And he knows I never listened to him, so he was just texting me, telling me to make sure I listened to it. I was like,
nice. Ace,
sounds like a relationship.
Going in. Oh, you're the princess.
Sometimes
there's that sweet girl
before he tapes himself, but hey.
Fair enough.
There's probably with a lot of people a preconceived notion about Tracy and Phil.
Sure.
What was your expectations going in? Did you expect to go in and see 2 guys that fucking hate each other? And that's obviously not true. What was it like when you went in there? Because like a lot of people's preconceived notions about the 2.
When I went in there, hang on, stop that. When I went in,
come on, if you could look yourself there, you would too.
Fair enough. Well, my foster licks himself raw, so I have to.
Gotcha.
So, Phil, I knew what I was getting because I'd been on stage with him a multitude of times in the previous incarnation of LA Guns, if you will, with Michael and whoever else, and we always got along really well. I mean, at one point, maybe several instances, I volunteered to be an auxiliary guy for that lineup, and which was shut down by a certain other member of the band, but that's neither here nor there. And so with Phil, I knew what I was getting, and I'd seen Phil and Tracy together candidly, and maybe the year or 2 leading up to me jumping in. And I'd never been on stage with Tracy, I think, that I can recall. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but I really didn't have any inhibition. It's kind of like if you guys called me, we're like, "Hey, we are this band, and here's where we're at, and we need you, and are you available? And so it was kind of like going to have beers with some old friends, and we just happened to play in a band for 90 minutes out of the day.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here for the last 10 minutes going, what did I say in this podcast earlier? Because it's still setting in that Gargano you're the manager for Tammy.
You have not said anything bad at all.
No, not at all.
Off the air, I'm kidding.
Nothing bad. I just have to make it. I just feel very self-conscious when I don't talk and I don't like jump in and say something. And that's the one thing with me doing, especially in a podcast form, doing Metal Edge. Writing is completely different, but doing a podcast form, I do have to. And it's one of the things that off air, Izzy and I talked about a lot, or I talk about, and he just tells me to shut the fuck up. But it's like, it's one of the things I have to worry about because Metal Edge is a business and Metal Edge is a brand. And I won't talk badly about, do I have a personal opinion about there being two versions of bands around? I definitely do. Do I side with one side over the other in private? I definitely do. But I also realize Metal Edge is a business, and I got to be careful about that stuff,
Of course. It's like I said earlier, it's the diplomatic approach.
Yeah, it's just, and and that's where it gets, and especially, the manager side of me, that's what I do. So it's not like I can go around and just like talk shit.
No, well, hold on. Am I allowed to have an opinion?
Why not?
You're allowed to have an opinion. However, this is what we'll always go back and forth. Because I remember one thing when I told Izzy and I censored him and I said, we can't, as long as Metal Edge is attached to this, I can't have your closing line every week be what I lack in talent I make up for in cock, for example. It affects certain things.
It's branding. You've got a business, a brand.
Exactly. And when you're in the process of selling a magazine and you're in the process of finding out what's going to happen with that magazine, you got to be very careful about the way stuff is branded. And when you're a manager as well as the owner of a magazine, you got to be very careful about what you say because, you can't offend people. And you don't know which record label is going to get pissed off at you because you said something about a band and then hold that against you when you're trying to get another one of your bands signed to the label. You're like,
I think I just read between your lines, but yeah.
You probably did.
I think I did because I think I know exactly what you're getting at. But unless you ask Mark in Duluth, and then he'll tell you he knows more about
Mark in Duluth. Let me tell you, Mark in Duluth knows more about the business of Drowning Pool, the business of Faster Pussycat, the business of Hurricane.
See, personally, I tend to like the opinion of Johnny and Sheboygan.
Oh yeah, good old John Boy.
Good old John Boy, because he does own Johnny's Bar in Sheboygan, which we'll all be bartending.
The thing about Johnny and Sheboygan is, if you buy him a good bowl of cheese curds, you can change his mind.
Oh God, God damn it! Now I want deep fried cheese curds, you fucking asshole.
I think I've kind of ran this whole thought process into the ground, but
look, I love this because here's the problem. Everybody thinks they know everything about everything, and in reality, most of them know very little about anything.
Yeah, right. Well, that's social media has enabled that.
So one of the things I love about doing something like this is that we're kind of educating people to the fact that, you know what, maybe in your world, you can step behind your keyboard and say someone's an asshole and does this because of something I don't understand. They're a jerk because somebody said they did something that they didn't really do. But in our world, we have to be very careful because you don't know when that band you're touring with, opening for one day, is going to be the band that you're playing lead guitar for the next day. And you don't know when that band that you write something shitty about in Metal Edge in 1998 is going to be the band you don't realize that someday you're going to be managing Drowning Pool and they're going to be opening up for Scott Stapp after you said all the shit you said. It's like, and that's like, it takes a lot of maturity to get to that point where you figure out everything's not as safe as it is behind your anonymous keyboard. And we all have things we have to worry about.
See, Paul, that's why they make gimmick names and wrestling masks. you can come on this show with a wrestling mask and a gimmick name and change your voice a little bit, and you can just talk like this, and you won't have to be Paul Gargano. You could be Johnny Simpson Schmidt from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and nobody will ever know the difference. Yeah.
I'm gonna come back on in a luchador mask and talk about everybody.
In the Bullet Boys.
Listen, and we'll call the segment "My Smooth Opinion."
Oh yeah,
smooth opinion.
I have because and actually, you're the one that got me, Ace. You're the one that got me to Discogs my entire vinyl collection, which was
Can you see what's going on back there?
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so
growing.
I have been literally, especially lately. By the way, has anybody else been paying attention to what's going on with Hail Satin?
What?
Who?
All right, the Foo Fighters put out a record for Record Store Day, and they called themselves the DGs.
Oh, the DGs, yeah.
The DGs, and they put out a record called Hail Satin, and the first half is 5 Bee Gees covers performed by the Foo Fighters, and the other side is live stuff. That thing came out and became the biggest album in like Record Store Day anything.
Really?
You can find it anywhere. It's like $250 on Discogs now, and I'm like,
Of course.
But what are the last 3 records you've bought?
I have to go to my Discogs. It came in the other day. I'll spare you. It was what was that year? 99. It was Danzig 666, Satan's Child.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. And it's actually been on my turntable for about 2 days now. I'm enjoying it more than I expected to, because I haven't listened to it in about 10 years.
Yeah.
But I'm also, Izzy knows this, I'm a huge Misfit Samhain Danzig fan, like to the nth degree. That and oh, you know what? I just picked up the other day. I went to a great record store here in town called Phonolux. So if you're in Nashville, check out Phonolux. I picked up a bunch of stuff. I got it just came out on Friday. It's the Tiny Music album from Stone Temple Pilots, but the
nice.
deluxe edition. I got that, and I'm like looking if like it's going to help me somehow by staring.
It's going to slide out of the case. Yeah.
Yeah, like a Harry Potter thing. And I got, this was maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I picked up, let me just look. I picked up 4 or 5 records, so I can't really just say the last 3 because
the big one. Yeah, I picked up a bunch lately, but the one that Rico was most excited about that has been on our turntable. The pink vinyl version of Space Hog Resident Alien.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a great record.
I think Real Gone Music did that one, if I'm not mistaken. I got that one and Nativity in Black, the Black Sabbath tribute album, came in one box.
Nice.
Oh, with typos on it and
Yep.
yeah.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yep.
I got that on cassette when
I went to literally every, and I'm not being sarcastic when I say this, I either called or visited every record store in Connecticut, Massachusetts, or New York City looking for the Hail Satin record, and which I actually had a copy of, and I told them I won't be here in time to pick it up. I don't want you to have to hold it for me. Had I any idea, I would have been like, oh, but and looking for it, and I ended up buying all this other stuff. Like I found the Crow soundtrack.
Oh, I've got it. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I hadn't had it. So I got the Crow soundtrack.
Great 90s mixtape.
So good. That's
like
one
my favorite Cure song on there.
Yep. One of my favorites.
I just last week I did a Amoeba run, and it was the Blues Brothers soundtrack.
Perfect.
Greatest movie of all time, bar none. Huey Lewis in the News Sports.
Nice.
I have his entire discography. Thank you.
I got a Blood, Sweat, and Tears record.
Okay.
I got a live record from I can't remember the band, but it was early 70s. But like the brand new stuff that I've gotten recently was the Pretty Reckless record.
Oh yeah, great.
Which is amazing. That country song at the end of it is fucking the best song on the record, and I don't love that record because she's naked in the middle. It's a great fucking record. That's just the bonus. And the Pussycat single. Those are like the 2 newest things that I've got.
Yeah.
I have the newest new one that I have is John Mayer.
Really? Oh yeah. That record's great.
Bob Rock.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I love it. Actually has the nice price sticker on it. I paid $30 for the album, but it's got the nice price sticker on it.
Nice. Well, let's do this. Let's wrap it up. We do have one question from the chat room. Kevin,
is the question, will they ever shut up?
Right. First of all, he says, Izzy, did you hit the record button so we can see this on YouTube? Yes, I did. Absolutely. Scotty says, well, fine. Let me know on Twitter your answer about the horror film question.
Will do.
And Kevin also says, is there any updates on when Ellie Guns goes on tour?
We're starting to do live shows in the fall, and then I was just told we're gonna have a busy year next year, so that's kind of all I know. But,
it's fucking great.
Delta, Upsilon,
right.
Omega.
Don't even get me started.
And by the way, the other two records I got the other day were Rob Zombie, Educated Horses, and B-52's Cosmic Thing.
Nice. Very cool.
I was bummed. I was holding in my hands the Go-Go's, and it was $10, and I'm like,
which one?
The big one. The one
with the surfing.
Beauty and the Beat and Vacation.
Yeah, the one with them in the bathtubs on the back.
I've got an entire stack of stuff that the owner of the record parlor keeps pleading with me to come in and sell him. I'll see if I have a lot, because I buy lots of records. I'll buy like 25 records because I want 2 of the records in there, and then I got all this stuff sitting around. So I will look and see if I have.
All right. Oh, and also the new Cheap Trick vinyl is fucking, that record's fucking great.
I just went and saw the Nielsen Trust about a month ago. They were great.
Nice.
I am looking forward to, I believe on August 11th, if I'm not mistaken, Blue Oyster Cult and Cheap Trick at the Orange County Fair.
Oh, that would be
amazing.
A great double bill. Would be amazing to go see.
Hint. Hint received.
All right, Ace Von Johnson, what do you got to plug? Obviously, the new record's out. Where can everybody get it?
LA Guns Cocked and Loaded Live is out now. The vinyl ships next week, so if you are looking for one or have already ordered one, it'll be in your hands then. LA Guns Checkered Past new studio album out in the fall. I want to say November sometime, but I don't know. The new Tiffany album is out in the fall as well. I've contributed to that. And
you will be at Rockin' Pod in about a week.
Oh yeah, thank you. Wow, yeah. Rockin' Pod next week, along with my buddy Izzy Presley.
That's right.
He paid for that.
Ooh.
And
what?
Izzy Stradlin. Yeah, so I'm appearing at that next weekend and doing the jam thing the night before with Ricky Rackman, doing a couple punk rock songs. And really, that's kind of it. Just, living my life, doing the damn thing, doing some voiceover here and there, and spending a lot of time doing some dog rescue stuff. There's a couple great rescue groups here in Nashville, one of which I've been sort of doing a lot of help, transport, and part-time fostering and whatnot. I've got obviously
the foster, the one on the couch.
So that's my foster, Rufus. Okay. I don't think he's feeling very well today. He's a senior.
He's definitely camera shy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes through phases. But he is a very sweet boy. He's a pit bull mix. He's about maybe 45 pounds. And I got him through Pity in Pink here in Nashville. And he was presumably a bait dog. And so he's suffered some horrible things in his life, but he's here and loved, and we've put about 10 pounds on him, and he's obsessed with Mila. And so he's
how can you not be?
There is that. Yeah. So he's constantly licking her and cuddling with her. And that's kind of, yeah, I love that pillow. That's kind of
apparently not as much as Izzy loves that pillow.
It's the only thing that'll hug me.
Oh Jesus, I'll hug you, bro. That's kind of become my sort of like, what is it, raison d'etre kind of thing, if I'm even using that properly, is just trying to do as much rescue based stuff here, some long distance transports. I've done a few, which is pretty rewarding unto itself. And I've had a few other dogs come through just as sort of like afternoon, like big brother program fostering, just to get them out of the kennel, get them some exercise. Like I said, I got a big ass backyard here, so let them run around. And that's it. I'm more interested in plugging dog stuff than music stuff, but that's kind of my whole thing. And
I'm sure Phil and Tracy appreciate that.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they'd be okay with it.
The new album, Checkered Past and Fostered Future.
Wow. Struggling to breathe there. Yeah, I'm turning into Waldorf and Statler behind you.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, Paul Gargano. I
me,
liked you better when you had the edge in metal.
Yeah, trust me, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out this light. God.
Yeah, I'm having a light thing.
It's happening to you too, so it's not just me. It's got to be something about the bulb.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is?
Let's go with the bulb.
I think it's the camera with the light thing. Yeah, and it's
yeah. So I bet if I mute this, then your screen changes.
It does actually.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thanks for having me. I'm going to grab him so you guys can see his little handsome face, and then
for sure.
Let you guys go.
Paul, what do you got? Anything you're allowed to promote?
Yeah, I mean, we got from the, there's going to be. I've been typing this. Oh wait, here comes the dog.
It's a good buddy.
Yeah.
It's a good buddy.
Wow. Oh, he's not that bashful. He's like, all right, I'll deal with this.
Yeah, he's getting attention.
He's like, I got this.
Oh, he'll get a hug when I come over when I'm in Nashville.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, next week. Holy shit, it is next week.
It's next week. It's next. Yeah, I got we're wrapping up some big stuff with Metal Edge. It's everything. Nothing ever goes as quickly as you want it to, but this one we're moving along.
I usually go quicker than wanted to, but that's another story.
Had some good meetings in New York while I was on the East Coast. I think we're getting a lot closer, and on the management, I feel like I'm gonna forget somebody, but Drowning Pool have a couple tours that are announced right now. There will definitely be new music in fall. We have a new label that'll be announced any day now, and Kurt Dimer. We launched him today. He's going to be out with Jeff Tate all fall. So check out Kurt Dimer, brand new artist. So like the socials are bare, but it's check him out. KURTDEIMER. That's it. Hurricane. I gotta say, Hurricane kicked ass at M3, which is a really good. It's always good when you haven't played a show in a long time, then you sell out of merch. So that was a good thing.
Damn, nice.
And I'm very excited to be working with Faster Pussycat. We got a couple good things happening, and hopefully we'll be hearing more from them in the future. So
yeah,
that's happening right now.
All right, let me hit the outro music. Where is it at?
What do you have coming up?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to tell you over the outro music.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, Soundcheck Live is not happening tomorrow night, but the album, The Smoke and Kills, Mike Dawson, The Smoke and Kills, is available now on CD if you go to thesmokeandkills.com. If you are in LA, you can come check us out for the album release party September 8th at The Mint. We just played Austin, Texas. It was fucking awesome. Going to be in Nashville next weekend, doing stand-up on the 10th. Punchlines and Backlines with Craig Gass, Don Jameson, Courtney Cronin-Dold, and the Talisman are all doing stand-up for the very first time. It's going to be beautiful. Hosting the jam that Ace is going to be at, the Rare Hair Jam. I am emceeing that. If you're going to Rockin' Pod, come find me at the booth representing Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effing Podcast and the Monsters of Rock Cruise. Get your fucking tickets for Monsters on the Mountain. And what else do I got? I think that's it. I think that is all. And catch us again next week, live Tuesday night. Yes, Paul, we will be live on next Tuesday night. At least I will be. Who knows? I guess we'll see. My name is Izzy Presley.
Next Tuesday is my birthday, so I probably will not be.
Oh, that's funny because I did a show on my birthday last year. Anyway, my name is Izzy Presley.
And I am.
On behalf of Paul Gargano. And thank you, Ace Von Johnson. Great to see you. Great to catch up. I cannot wait to give you a hug next weekend.
Absolutely.
And this has been Metal Edge Magazine's Another Effing Podcast. And I don't know why.